Before introducing the 2015-16 Board of Directors, I would invite members to join me in expressing our gratitude to members of the Board of Directors who are completing their term of office. We thank them for their commitment they have demonstrated and would invite them to stand up and be acknowledged as I call their name. As I mentioned earlier, Jose Susi, whose term finishes, was unable to join us today. Jillian Ring was with us for 2013 to 2015. Annie Boudreau, 2013 to 2015. Edward Dubé, our public director, 2 years, 2013 to 2015. Thank you, thank you. Thank you. Mr. Dubé's name has been submitted to the Minister of Health for consideration for a second term. He will stay on the Board of Directors as we have it in our policies, that the person stays on until the government appoints someone new. We have put the names forward to government and are waiting for that, and I'm the eternal optimist, for those that know me well, that he'll be reappointed. But just in case it's to thank you, Edward, for your years of service, and the value the public members bring to the board is immeasurable, and we truly appreciate people are willing to give up their time, because that's what nursing is all about, is the people we serve, and if we don't have that public voice, then we probably wouldn't be where we are today in nursing in New Brunswick. The nominating committee is composed of 3 registered nurse directors from the NANB board, and for the second year, registered nurses cast their votes online by telephone, replacing the paper ballots. So we had it last year, we worked out a few of the bugs, and we did it again this year. By next year, we ought to have it perfect. During the election, our chief scrutineer, Sharon Hall-Kay, randomly monitored both online and telephone voting processes to ensure all aspects of the electronic voting process were functioning as expected throughout the 2-week voting period, confirmed that the ballot box was empty at the start of the election, and verified the election results were closing. Slightly over 7% of eligible voters participated in the election process this year. Although there can only be one individual elected for each position, the association would like to recognize all the nurses who have presented their candidacy this year. For President-elect was Karen Fournette, in Region 2, Jillian Ring, Region 4, Jenny Toussaint, and Region 6 was Annie Boudreau and Linda Austin. We recognize and value your interest, and we hope that you will continue to contribute your time and energy to the association and the profession. As Roxanne commented earlier, it's extremely important for nurses and the new nurses coming into our profession that you take control of your professional body. I now invite Sharon Hall-Kay, Chief Scrutineer, to come forward and present the report of the election, following which I will introduce your 2015-2016 Board of Directors.
Good afternoon. The report of the election is as follows. There was a single candidate for the positions of President-elect, which was Karen Fournette, Region 2 Director Jillian Ring, and Region 4 Director Jenny Toussaint, and therefore no ballot was required for those positions. 2 candidates presented for the position of Region 6 Director, and the election results for this position are as follows. The number of ballots that were cast were 60. Number of spoiled ballots, 0. Number of ballots for Annie Boudreau, 36. Number of ballots for Linda Austin, 24. As Chief Scrutineer, I'm satisfied with the integrity of the election process, and I've received no request from any of the candidates for a review of the election results. Therefore, I've directed the ballots to be destroyed.
Thank you, Sharon. So the results of the election were as follows. By acclamation, President-elect Karen Frenette, acclamation, Region 2 Director Jillian Ring, and acclamation, Region 4 Director Jenny Toussaint, and the successful candidate for Region 6 Director is Annie Boudreau. Just so you know, in the future, as we move forward, and this is our second year with the electronic ballot process, we'll be communicating to all the registered members 2 weeks following the closure of the election. As well, results will be posted on NANB website. So as we use technology more and use it to its full advantage, then that way everyone will know what the election results are. It'll make it a little smoother. So now it is my pleasure to introduce the 2015-2016 Board of Directors, whose mandate will begin September 1st, 2016. As I call your name, if you would please come forward and join me at the front of the Assembly. President Brenda Kinney. Region 1 Director Joanne LeBlanc-Chasson. Region 2 Director Jillian Ring. Region 3 Director Amy McLeod. Region 4 Director Jenny Toussaint was unable to be here today. Region 5 Director Therese Thompson. Region 7 Director Lisa Kiersted Johnson. Our Public Director Wayne Trail. Public Director Fernand Chouinard. Public Director Edward Dubé. We're not letting you leave yet, Edward, till. And last but not least, our President-elect Karen Frenette. Oh, did I? No, Annie? Oh my goodness. Aren't you pleased? Yes, sorry, Annie. Annie, yes, of course, Region 6 Director Annie Boudreau. So sorry, Annie. You are there on my list. Ladies and gentlemen, this is your 2015-2016 Board of Directors. So did he get his, oh, he did, good. Just making sure that the photographer got the photos, but that's good, okay. It gives me great pleasure to present Brenda Kinney, President-elect, with the President's pin, which she will wear proudly during her mandate. Brenda, if you want to come forward.
Thank you.
Oh, yes, I forgot. Should be used to it after 2 years. I keep forgetting. He's always about. I now invite Brenda Kinney, President-elect, to assume the chair.
On behalf of the Board of Directors and members of the Nurses Association of New Brunswick, it's my pleasure to thank Darlene for her commitment and leadership as our president over the past 2 years. During Darlene's mandate, the association, as you've heard today, has accomplished a great deal, some of which has been detailed in the annual report. I would like to highlight a couple things that were of particular significance. So after years of planning the transition to the NCLEX RN Computer Adaptive Entry to Practice exam took place with the first administration of that exam in Fredericton in February of this year. And as you heard, we have a number of students that will be taking place doing their exam over the next week and few weeks. The launch of the National Nursing Assessment Service in August of 2014 culminated a 10-year journey for the regulatory bodies of RNs, LPNs, and registered psychiatric nurses across Canada to support the assessment of internationally educated nurses. And now I'm going off script, so the poor translators will be struggling with me for the next couple years as well. I just want to share some observations about Darlene from a more personal perspective as her time at board. And some could describe Darlene as a bit of a taskmaster. If it wasn't for the fact that she has to eat every couple hours, we probably would not ever have gotten a break at board. Darlene, as I'm sure you can tell, is organized, caring. She's a confident leader who ensures that all members of the board understand the issues and are well informed. No question is a stupid question, and she takes the time to ensure that we all are very comfortable with the dialogue that's happening. She cares for everyone. She takes that time to interact with us, to make sure that she understands and knows who we are as board members. And you heard her talk today about how the patient is the center of her practice. It's the center of her philosophy. I think as nurses in this room, those of us with lots of experience, those of us who are just starting out in our career in nursing, can take a lot out of that perspective. If we can put the patient at the center, as Darlene does, we will make the right decisions for New Brunswickers. Even though she doesn't always stay on track, she does have a good reason when she goes off, and she has lots of wisdom to impart. And I think that over the next few years, she will be a valuable mentor, certainly a mentor to me, as I take on the presidency. Her time, her experience, her contributions at CNA, I don't think can be understated. She has a knowledge of policy and development that is detailed. She's detailed, and she's very, very good at what she does. So that is certainly something that I know CNA, national nurses, have benefited from, as well as those nurses not only in this room but across this province. So we've been very fortunate to have a leader with Darlene's abilities. So Darlene's leadership has been demonstrated as the president of NANB Board of Directors, at the national level as a director on the board of the Canadian Nurses Association. She does exemplify a model of leadership that is deeply committed to the nursing profession, and she does give generously of her skills, expertise, and time. I would also like to go off script again and acknowledge Roxanne, her mentorship for the board, her mentorship of her presidents and president-elect that work with her is something that everybody that has had that wonderful opportunity, and it is a wonderful opportunity to work with her, will know what experience, what knowledge that she has. I was so fortunate to be a member of the board when we hired Roxanne as our executive director. I knew then, on that day, that we had made the right decision, and there's absolutely no question as we stand here today, oh dear, that we made the right decision. She will be a loss, but she will always be with us and imparting her knowledge whenever we need her. And to that, I think we can all be very grateful that we have that leadership. So would like to acknowledge that. So now I would like to ask you all to join me in expressing our sincere appreciation to our President, Darlene, for her contributions to the Nurses Association of New Brunswick. And Darlene, I'd like to offer you, and Roxanne and I will.
Yeah.
I will now return the chair of the meeting to you, Madam President.
Thank you, Brenda. I think as Roxanne stated earlier, we don't accomplish anything by ourselves, and I too want to acknowledge that even just this meeting today, how organized and everything is, from registration to our preparation to get through the meeting. We wouldn't do it without the staff, and Brenda and I have been in here working, not in this room working since Sunday, but we've been in town working since Sunday, and then the board of directors Monday and Tuesday. And the staff have been working tirelessly, so I thought it was a long day, and they're right, I have to eat every 2 hours. I'm not diabetic, but I get grouchy. But the staff still, even though we had 2 days of board meetings, we're still working day and night. So like Roxanne, I want to, if you wouldn't mind, acknowledge the hard work for the staff because they make this happen and run smoothly. And I thank them for that because they've had to put up with me for the last couple of years. And, you know, we all have our strengths and weaknesses, and I know absolutely what mine are, and they've learned intimately what they are, but I'm not going to share. This year in 2016, it will be an exciting, momentous year for the Nurses Association of New Brunswick and nurses in the province as we celebrate our 100th anniversary. A full calendar of activities and celebrations will happen across the province to mark this milestone. Information will be available through the NANB website and various electronic and print publications. And thank you to those who have volunteered so far, and we look forward to celebrating together with everyone. On top of that, so in 2016, not only are we celebrating, and we did that intentionally a few years ago, we were supposed to host CNA, I forget what, 2014, right. So instead we switched so that we could host CNA in our Centennial year. So also in 2016, we will host the CNA Biennial Convention in St. John, New Brunswick, next June, and we hope to see many of you there, and information will be available, and if you played the little game and there was a place to sign out up if you want to volunteer. I've already been recruiting a list around the province. All the retired nurses, they retired this year. I said, what's your phone number, mailing address, and do you have an email? They just laughed. They said, oh, Darlene. I said, well, just think about it, 100 years, and we're celebrating CNA, and we're going to be proud and make sure lots of New Brunswick nurses are there. So we'll celebrate that in June. As we stated that we're providing the opportunity to tour the building, let's see, I was on the committee, I can't remember exactly what year, staff would be able to tell me that we bought the building on the corner of Brunswick and Regent Street, but we've now just refurbished it, and we hope that that refurbishment will last for another 20 years. Or 25. Shelley's hoping at least 20 or 25 since she was the overseer in that project. But please, it is your building. We own that building, so please feel free to partake in going the tour, and you'll see our beautiful new elevator and how nice the offices are now for staff to work, and how we've set up the regulatory, the discipline and review section, and where the board meets. So please, I would take that opportunity to go be proud of your building. I'd like to thank the volunteers. I've already thanked the staff, but we also have some volunteers to assist with the meeting today. You'll be emailed after the annual meeting an electronic evaluation form that if you prefer to complete the form here, you're allowed. Otherwise, copies for that are available at the registration desk. Otherwise, you'll probably receive an email in the next few days asking you to fill in your assessment of the annual meeting. We do pay attention, we do listen, and things have continued to change based on feedback from our members, so please do that. As I said before, if you've purchased tickets for the award banquet this evening, it'll take place at 7 in this room. A reception and cash bar will be available in the grand ballroom foyer beginning at about 6. And also, please make sure to take all your belongings with you when you leave today, as they will have to prepare this room once we leave. And as a final comment, I wish to thank all of you for attending the annual meeting this year. It's been a great pleasure of mine to chair the meeting, and again, I thank you very much. The next year's meeting, we meant to share earlier, but because we're hosting the biennium in June, And our annual meeting is next year, where the Board of Directors agreed that we would have our annual meeting in October. We're still negotiating with the hotel in respect to dates, so the date will come later, but our annual meeting will be in October of 2016, not in May, June, as we usually do. We'll have the CNA-BOPINB in June, and we'll have our annual meeting in October. The dates will come later, and we're going to have activities in respect to our biennium throughout the whole year. So look forward to those, and there will be lots of information going out, and we'll have activities happening in all the areas and regions of the province. So on that note, I thank you very much. Again, it has been a humbling experience to be your president. 38 years later, I would still make the same decision to be a nurse. I love what I do. So to the students that are coming, keep the passion. It will be, you get to decide every day what kind of day you have, so don't let someone else ruin it. You're there for the patients, and that caring is what it's all about. So thank you very much, and I'm so glad you're here. On that note, I declare the 99th annual meeting of the Nurses Association of New Brunswick to be adjourned. Thank you very much.